Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Demon Slayer. Last time on Demon Slayer we had the boar bares its fangs. Zenitsu sleeps. That's such an anime title when you basically have two titles in one. That's such an anime thing, but I kind of like it. Anyway, yeah, so the boar bares its fangs. Boar-Man Frank, as we're calling him, showed up. He's got his crazy swords. He is crazy. He wants to take out demons, but he doesn't mind hurting humans along the way, and there's that. Zenitsu sleeps. Zenitsu passed out facing a demon, but when he sleeps, that's when his true power and confidence comes out. And yeah, meanwhile, Tanjiro was working through the pain because he's still injured from the Tamari demon and Arrow demon fight. And he's working through the pain to attack the drum demon. And that's pretty much where we left off, so yeah. Yeah, like always, the reaction is down in the description and the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Demon Slayer. Here we go. Man, okay, like, look, okay. I mean, first off, you understand why Boar-Man Frank is doing this, because he hunts demons, it's his job. On the other hand, he's also being a colossal douchebag about it. So there's that. Man, my boy Zenitsu, though. My boy Zenitsu. Man, it's such an interesting thing, because at first I was like, I don't know if I'm really going to like Zenitsu, but I was like, well, I'm sure I'll give him a few episodes, and you know we'll warm up to him because that's how this show is gonna go. And it's the same thing I said about the other guy at the final selection, where it's like, oh, this guy's so like angry and just annoying. Like, man, I hate him. He's gonna be a terrible, he's gonna be an endearing character, and I'm sure Boar-Man Frank is going to be the same way. So it kind of is interesting that we have angry guy from the final selection and also Boar-Man Frank that we now have to warm up to, you know? Because I imagine we will, you know? I mean, Boar-Man Frank is one of the iconic images from Demon Slayer that you see when you've never seen Demon Slayer. So, and the fact that he's like in the intro with, Tanjiro and Zenitsu, it just makes me think that he's going to be, he's going to be an ally at some point. We just have to knock some sense into him. But yeah, just the whole thing, just the fact that he kept kicking Zenitsu. It's like, man, fuck off. Like, are you kidding me? But yeah. And then, yeah, just, I imagine it was... I imagine this was just a strange sort of pacing thing as to why it just kind of... Tanjiro just kind of stood there for 2 minutes. Like, I mean, I guess it wasn't really 2 minutes, but how long before he, like... It was like a good full minute before Tanjiro, like, started moving, And I imagine that was just a thing about pacing, because they wanted to save the next scene for the next episode. But they still had, a full minute left, so... Because that seems weird that Tanjiro didn't immediately, as soon as he sees someone, A, beating up Zenitsu, and B, going after Nezuko, immediately he would, I feel like, be rushing them, So the fact that he just kind of stood there for a minute was weird, but again, I'm just going to assume that's some sort of pacing issue with, how they wanted this episode, where they wanted to end the episode, basically. So yeah. But other than that, it's completely fine. It's just a strange pacing thing. So yeah. But we did get some interesting stuff in this with Kyogai, which was interesting. That he used to be a writer. Now, it's interesting that from the backstory we saw, we didn't see when he was transformed into a demon by Kibutsuji, So yeah, it was really just... I mean, we saw him, he seemed to just be a normal human, and then he became, the red-eyed demon that we know. And, he used his drum. But I mean, I guess if he already had his drum, And the scene was also at night, so maybe he was kind of teetering back and forth between being a human and being a demon. And eventually he just gave into it, so yeah, that stuff was interesting. And the whole thing that, I mean, we've seen this with other individuals, I suppose, in history. That the thing you think you want to do, you suck at, and you become a terrible villain. I didn't really think we were going to get that illusion today, but well, here we are. But yeah, so Kyogai, he was just a writer, but he got laughed away. He got shunned by his teacher or whoever publisher may be. But I mean, that's the thing, because I was kind of thinking like, well, man, I don't know, because we don't know what his writing is. But at the same time, it's like, it's not just that he was rejected, but the fact that this guy, I mean, this dude was an asshole. This dude was an class A asshole, where he's just throwing his work on the ground, stepping on it, and being like, oh, you should go back to the drums, but you're mediocre at that too. And it's like, what the, come on, man. So yeah, it's like that did push him into his rage, which was interesting. So yeah, a good backstory again for someone who used to be of the 12 Kiseki. So I'm going to be doing this all day. I imagine it must be humid outside, which is why my hair is poofier today than normal. Oh, well. Anyway. But yeah. Well, first off, then we had the continuing fight with the rapid drum beats, which was fun. But then, Tanjiro using shallow breaths, which was good. Short, shallow breaths in order to not, in order to not move his ribs too much, So that was an interesting idea. And then using the ninth form, which would adapt to where the room, to what was happening with the room, making all these splashes around the room, and eventually going in for a kill. Of course, then he took in a deep breath by accident, but that was good. So have we seen now all 10 of the forms, of the water-breathing forms? I feel like we might have, but I don't know. I should have been, writing them all down somewhere, but I haven't, so great job. But yeah. But he did manage to win, which was good. And I like how he also, even though he didn't know what the writing was at all, he didn't know what the writing was. He probably didn't have time to look at it and, comprehend what it really was. He just saw writing, It's like, oh, there was writing in this room. And Tanjiro, being such a good boy that he is, he just avoided all of that, It reminds me, there's a scene in My Hero Academia that kind of does a similar thing. It's the scene where Deku is trying to take the stamp from Sir Night-Eye, and he devises this strategy that should have won, but he ended up not winning. But while he was devising his strategy, he was specifically not stepping or damaging any of the All Might memorabilia around Night-Eye's office. And it's a very similar thing here that, now it's a little different because, Deku knew what those things were, and Tanjiro did not know what this writing was. All he knew was there was writing, but he knew, because Tanjiro is such a good boy, he knew that he shouldn't do that, And it did help him. It did help him adjust to the fight, but at the same time, he did not. It was not in his nature to step on that writing, and that caught the attention of Kyogai. And he even said at the end, your blood demon art was incredible, and I like how that does. I mean, it's the thing we've had pretty much all season, that that Tanjiro is very respectful, and even though he kills these, he has to take out these demons who probably have done unspeakable things, he still respects them and wishes them peace in the afterlife, So that's the thing. Tanjiro is just such a he's a good boy, and I gotta say, I do kind of like the good boy archetype, I guess, between Tanjiro. I would say Deku, especially when they focus on it with Deku, and probably one of my favorites being Jonathan Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I just really like that sort of, like, they're just so good because they're respectable, they're gentlemen, they're good people, and I really do like seeing that in situations like this, and yeah, sometimes, like in part 1, it is sort of played for like, oh, this is kind of funny, he won over his enemy and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, no, but that's how good of a person he is, and that is exactly the same thing here, It's exactly the same thing here, that he, like, Kyogai can die in peace because he met Tanjiro, Now, the other demons couldn't. The other demons could not, but he always wishes them, for a bit of peace. Even the demon who, had eaten 50 kids in the final selection, 14 of which had been all of Urokodaki's students, and Tanjiro still, wished him for peace, That's just how good of a person Tanjiro is, and I really enjoy that, And then there was a cat. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting the cat to show up. But yeah, so the cat is invisible, and when it meows, it becomes visible, and that's how you transport those blood samples back to Lady Tamayo, and then it meows again once it has the blood sample and goes invisible and heads out. That's pretty cool, and I imagine that the talisman, the paper talisman that's on his chest, while also including the invisibility, probably also has a sort of like wayfinder, basically, like, this cat will know how to get to Tanjiro and how to get back to Miss Tamayo. So that was cool. I like that because they didn't really say how they were going to meet up with Tamayo again, Tamayo and Yushiro. So I'm glad they have the whole thing with the cat, at least for now. And I'm sure at some point the cat might, go to Tanjiro just to bring him and Nezuko back to Tamayo. So yeah. And then Zenitsu, you know what? Respect to Zenitsu. Like, he really grew up in that fight, Like, yeah, he's still afraid. He still has his fears, but I mean, he's a good person too. And he's looking at this situation with the box and is like, well, Tanjiro said it's precious to him. So, even if he knows that there's a demon in there, but that this is up for Tanjiro. Like, we have to hear what Tanjiro says, And then friggin' Boar-Man Frank coming in, just beating him, and it's like, man. But that's the thing with Boar-Man Frank, That's the thing with Boar-Man Frank, is that it's like, yeah, he doesn't really care. He's just there to kill demons, And he was even willing to slice through Tanjiro and Teruko, So we're going to have to work on Boar-Man Frank. We're definitely going to work on him. But we've already worked through Zenitsu, I feel like. He's a good boy. He's a good boy, that Zenitsu. Little bit scared, but you know what? I guess that just makes him human. So yeah. Really, really interesting stuff this episode, and I'm excited to see where we are going next time. But that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Demon Slayer reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.